Yeah, so I've had a lot of people inquire about the course that we offer, the Oracle DB course, and a lot of people have actually asked me how I got started teaching, and you guys might not be able to tell, but oh, you can see students back here. The students were filled back here, not in the front because they couldn't see the blackboard. It was too close, so they sat over here. But this was me a few years ago when I first started teaching Oracle, right? But the funny thing is, this is the funny thing. I was only maybe 2 years removed from going to a class just like the course that I'm teaching you guys. Just 2 years. So, how did I get there? Well, let me give you the story. So, initially, I started off, got a degree, a useless degree in finance, very useless. And as I keep it short. So, this is my site, clouduniversity.com. Been teaching for going on over 10 years. I teach people how to make six figures, right? It's really that simple. Six figures. If you want to make six figures, boom, it is what it is, right? Now, we teach you all things as far as related to Oracle database administration. Look at all the courses. We have over 1,000 courses on there, right? But you can learn how to make six figures today. And yes, AI is here, but it's not. It's AI is actually dying. If you guys do your research, right? So there is still going to be need for humans to actually do the work, right? I'm not over here trying to teach you guys how to make $1 million. No, I just want to show you guys how to double your salary. So the average black man makes what, $42,000 a year. Cool. Well, I'm gonna teach you how to triple that. Simple enough. You make what, 20 bucks an hour? I'm gonna show you how to make between 60 and $70 an hour after what, 3 months. How hard is that, right? So what you want to do is you want to go to clouduniversity.com, all right, and you want to click on the very first video that you guys see. I'm sorry, course that you guys see. This one right here. We have shorter, we have shorter videos that are a little bit more tailored. This gives you everything, but then we have other courses, right? So we have Oracle and AWS for you guys that just want to learn Oracle and AWS. You can just learn that. But if you want the whole shebang, yep, it's right there, right? Now you may ask yourself, well, why is it so expensive? Well, that it's relative, right? If you want to go back to college, that's going to cost you at least what, 100 to 200 grand with room on board, and that's going to take you 4 years. But with Cloud University, it's only going to take you 3 months, 3 short months, and you're making 70 bucks an hour. I think it's a good deal. So, guys, hit the link in the description. Book a call on Calendly or whatever, and we can talk. We can sit down and we can talk for about 30 minutes and see whether or not we're a good fit. All right, guys, talk to you soon. Peace. 1 second, boys. And I still find myself quite embarrassed at the fact that I have a finance degree because I absolutely not well, I wouldn't say not once. When I first graduated from college, I was getting a lot of account payable jobs. They were paying, oh, they were paying what? I don't know, like 20, 21 bucks an hour or something like that, something crazy like that. And actually, the highest I ever got paid using my account degree was when I was working for Northrop Grumman over there in Herndon. And I was actually getting paid, what, 26 bucks an hour. Oh, I thought I hadn't made it, right? But they had me doing stuff with accounting, and finance and accounting are two completely different beasts, right? So that didn't last. Well, it lasted about 6 months or whatever. So, but it wasn't fun at all while it lasted at all. But it was the most money I ever made was 26 bucks an hour. So I found myself out of a job, and I knew that, you know what, after looking at the lives of all these accountants and
managers and stuff like that. I was just looked at that salary. I was just like, bro, these mofos making 80, 85 bucks, $85,000 a year. I was like, bruh, so I gotta wait like another 10, 15 years to make that. I'm like, hell no. I'm like, no. So I knew that finance and accounting wasn't, they just wasn't, it wasn't for me, right? So needed income. And you know, the funny thing is like, even while I was in college, I had like three jobs, three full-time jobs, right? I don't know how I survived it, but I was on a mission to get the hell out of there. The way that would work was I would work at night from from 10 to 6 or 11 to 7. I'd get my corporate job. I'd go get my corporate job, right? And I'd do that. I would do that from what, 8:30 to 4:30. But then on the weekends, yeah, I remember now. Like then on the weekends, I would do that Monday through Friday. But then on the weekends, I would work two doubles. On Saturday and Sunday, I had my other security job, right? So, needless to say, I had no life. But I was making about what, $7,000 every 2 weeks or every week, something like that. So I was able to save up some money. But after a while, that gets real old, real fast, right? Real fast. So, you know, started mixing with friends and family and, well, friends and started looking at what they were doing. And at that time, like IT was it. It was hot. But but where most people were seemed to be gearing towards was Oracle at the time, and Oracle was really hot. It still is, but it was really hot back then. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I didn't have the money for it, right? Because I depleted all my savings or whatnot. Um, because the accounting job I got let go of that, and then the security job at night I got let go of that just because I was always sleeping, dog. I was tired as hell, right? I just was just done. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was a crazy time. So I actually went to go borrow money from mom, of course. She's always been my lifeline, stuff in times like that. And she actually gave me at the time the classes cost to what, $1,700 or 2,000, something like that. And she gave me the money for it, right? It was a physical class where you actually had to sit there for about 4 or 5 months, right? And we met twice a week, and you better not miss class, right? It was an African professor. You couldn't miss class because if you miss class, now you're behind, right? Because he's not stopping for anybody, right? So the way things we used to do things back then was really simple. We would record the classes while he was teaching. One no software, none of that, blah, no one no videos or anything like that. So we did actually record it on a physical recorder. So as you're driving back and forth to doing going about your business, you would just be listening to the professor over and over and over again. And he would give us these homework assignments that we had to do and so on and so forth, right? This is how we did it, right? Okay. So this whole time I'm still working my security job, making I think at that time I was making what, $17 an hour or something like that. This is crazy talk. So anyway, after that, well, I took a chance on myself, right? So I said, all right, anything's got to be better than this. And at the time, you know, people were, because a lot of students were graduating from my classes before us, right? And they were making, you could see them making six figures, like their lives were literally transforming. So you were hungry to, you had to be one of them, right? Right. So every week, the professor would teach and give us homework assignments for us to do. And I was one of those guys, man. I like to party, but one thing I knew I didn't play with was every week. I knew I had to make sure that everything was done. I had to complete it, right? So because I knew I was going to party on Saturday, right? So I made sure that during the week I made sure I got my stuff done. I was ready for the next week's lecture, right? So I didn't mess around. So even after the course, there was even advanced courses that we had to do as well. That we had to. Let me Yeah, it was optional for us to take it, but if you wanted to command a little bit more money, and if you wanted to stand out in the job market at the time, you had to take these advanced classes, right? These are things that you get automatically with the class. And everything, again, was all physical. You had to learn that stuff physically. I mean, you had to touch the computer, you had to do all that, right? You don't got to do that stuff now because I teach it better, right? But anyway, we had to do all that. And it was good learning. It was a good learning experience and whatnot, right? I'd say about 30% of the student, well, I'd say about 50% of the student. No, actually, I would say about 60, 70% of the students actually took the advanced class. So the dude was making money. He was making money, like, for real. Man, he deserved it because he was a really good teacher. I have to give him that. He was a good teacher. So I took the advanced class. So after you take the advanced class, then you put your resume out there, you start applying. Right? A lot of students that didn't mess around, like who actually did the work, they got jobs real fast, real fast. And this is what I tell a lot of my students: like, if you do the work, you're gonna get a job. It's just a matter of time. You're gonna get a job. You ain't gonna. It's not gonna be all day neither. You did a job pretty relatively fast, right? Because you did the work, and when they ask you questions on the interview, you're gonna be a good answer. It's really that simple. But where I stood out, how did I go from a security guard to be able to teach the stuff to where I was making six figures a month? Where I stood out was simple, right? What I did was I decided, you know what, I'm not going to go looking for a job because I'd done the class and I'd done the advanced class, I'd done it all. So I said, you know what, I'm actually going to volunteer to be the teacher's assistant. That's what I said. I'll volunteer. So the normal class with the advanced class would normally run about 5 to 6 months. So I said, you know what? Wait another 5 to 6 months before I start looking for a job, and I'm gonna be his assistant, right? Because I said, you know what? And I wasn't even thinking about it at the time. I really wasn't. This wasn't even my plan. And I said, you know what? I just want to learn it a little bit more. And I was already good, but I said, you know what? I kind of like the guy. It couldn't hurt, but to learn it a little bit more. I really wasn't thinking far beyond that. However, what that did was it made my understanding even better, even to the point where I now understood how to teach it because I saw him teach it. Right. So basically, what the professor would do was he would teach in the front, and I would basically assist the students in the back. So if they had an issue, normally he would have to stop class and fix that person's error, and then blah 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 blah. Right. And then he continued teaching. But my value was I would come to him. I would come to all the classes and I would just stand in the back. And if somebody had an issue, right, brand new student, I would fix it. So this forced me to put my stuff into practice, what I had learned. So it made my tutelage more expedient. Right? Even the homework assignments, I would grade the assignments and so forth. So after the end of 6 months, right, still making $17 an hour or whatnot. Um, The funny thing is, I put my resume out together. Put my resume together. I put my resume out there on a Wednesday. I got a call Wednesday night for an interview on Thursday the next day, face to face. So I went there, Maxim Healthcare, I'll never forget. Went for the interview. I landed the job. They wanted me to start the following Monday, but I said no. I can start tomorrow. They said, oh, okay, that's fine with us. Because I really needed money at that time because I'd stopped doing security, right? So that one day represented about $500 that I used to feed myself over the next 2 weeks before the cycle came in and I got a full paycheck. Yeah. So basically, I went from earning $17 an hour to $104,000 a year, right? Six figures. When I tell you, I felt like I was doing something, and I really felt like I was doing something. Yeah, I was making some. I mean, to go from $17 an hour to over $50 an hour, like that's triple your income, dude. You're gonna feel that, man. You're really gonna feel something, right? So after that, after a few months doing that, got my first Mercedes Benz. Oh, it was an E Class 2, boy, brand new. It was fresh, boy. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing. If you knew how many girls I got with that Mercedes, oh my lord. Ooh. One thing I will always give Mercedes is this one. The one thing I noticed about a Mercedes, because I've never driven a Mercedes before. One thing I noticed about the Mercedes is the brand is like the car is heavy. It was just a heavy car. It's just when you started that thing up, man, you felt like you was in a car, bro. I mean, I got a lot of play off of that. Like it was fun times. So anyway, so I got multiple jobs. I got a job in Maryland. I got a job in Knoxville, Tennessee. Um, then I got another job at Raytheon. Yeah, I got a job at Raytheon, right? And all these, I was making six figures and above, and so on and so forth, right? So at Raytheon, they let a whole bunch of people go, and I was one of the people that got let go because I was brand new to the company. It wasn't for any performance or anything. It was just, they didn't plan the project right, so they let a bunch of people go. I got severance or whatever, so that should let you know right there. Right. So then I was out of work for about a month or two. So I said, you know what? Instead of me just sitting at home doing pretty much nothing, something in me just said, you know what? Just go ahead and rent to like the little office space, right? It's not going to cost you much. So I did that. So while I was in the office, just for no reason, it was not expensive. It was like $500 a month, something like that. It was like a little office space. So I said, you know what? While I'm here, like I might as well just keep practicing my awful stuff to keep up, right? So that's been doing this. Something I will never forget it. Like an inner voice said, "Bro, this has gotten a little bit too easy for you." I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think I might as well just teach this thing, and that's how I started. Right. So what did I do again? I ran to mama. I ran to my mom, and I asked her for some money for money for the what you call it, for because I found a spot. It's a little small spot, but they needed to break down the walls and clean up the spot for me so I could I had to put at least uh I think I had to put like 10 students. 10 students in there. Was it 10? Yeah, I think it was about 10 students. One, two, three. No, I think it was more like 12 to 15. Anyway, something like 12. Between 10 and 15 students anyway. It was a small class, whatever. But I think it was 10 actually. So we struggled. They fixed up the place. They asked for, and my mom gave me the money for the down payment. Not for the down, for not only down for the. So I paid for the down payment of the place, but the construction, my mom gave me the money for that as well. My mom and my dad, to be fair, they gave me the money for that. Right. So that's how it started. So I'm going to all these leftover shops or whatever, and I'm buying like I'm going to not IKEA. I'm going to Home Depot, getting all these garden tables, getting to leftover shops, getting these cheap chairs, getting to all these computer stores, Asian computer stores, getting cheap computers. So I stage it in, so it looks like a classroom, just like this. All these little things, you can see it, right? I got all these chairs, all this from these cheap computer from these cheap computer stores or whatnot. It's cool. So I was able to stand up. This actually was not the initial classroom, right? This wasn't the initial classroom. My first classroom was much smaller than this. So anyway, I had 10 students. I had 10 seats for 10 students. So initially, I started charging years ago. I started charging two. No, I was charging $1,000. That's what I was initially. But well, let me circle back, right? So I started doing advertising. And the way I did advertising was I was put flyers everywhere. Dude, that was hard. That was the hardest part of the whole thing. I just put flyers everywhere, putting posts on stops everywhere, around the city, blah 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 blah. So here's the funny thing, right? I was gonna run out of money by November. I was gonna run out of money in 1 month, right? So this had worked in 30 days because even where I was living, I was living with a bunch of roommates, and even that I had no money left. So 30 days, that was it. Okay. All right. So the funny thing happened was somebody actually called, right? Even before I found the place, I was already doing the marketing and so on and so forth. Even before I found the place to put me. So somebody actually called. There's a lady, I'll never forget her, right? She called and then she asked how much it was. And I told her it was going to cost 3,000. And her mom paid that 3,000. It was a good thing and it was a bad thing. I took that money fast, right? But the bad thing was, this thing was, I told him it was going to start in 30 days. But the bad thing was I didn't have a place to put them. So that kind of put more fire behind my ass to actually find somebody, to actually find a place where I can put these mofos, right? All right, cool, no problem. So anyway, eventually I found somebody, this and that, blah 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 blah. Right. So when she paid, right, I used that to purchase chairs, little computers, so on and so forth, right? So that more people would call, right? And then they would pay. As they paid, I would buy more stuff. They paid, buy more stuff, right? And then to the day, right? The 30 days, I was done. I was able to get everything done, and I had a full class, 10 people. Now the funny thing is, it had to be more than 10 people. It was more than, I think it was 15 students actually, 15. The funny thing is, the first girl that paid was 3,000, but between the first girl that paid and the second person that paid, it was like 2 weeks. So I started to get nervous. So I reduced the price big time to like 1,000, right? But at the end of the day, though, check this out. I had no money when I first started this, none whatsoever, right? By the time class started, I had a full class of 15 students. I had $20,000 in my pocket. 20, right? So the reason why I had to drop the price from 3,000 to 1,000, right, was because I just needed to get the class full. I just said, all right, fuck it. I just need to get the class full big time. Just get the class full, right? And then I had to buy them laptops and so on and so forth and program everything, blah, 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 right? So I had $20,000 in my pocket after like 2 months. I wasn't bad, dog. I promise you, it wasn't bad. Like having $20,000 for nothing, bruh, it felt good. Bruh, from that moment on, so each class that I had was about 2 months long initially until I started doing the advanced class as well. So every 2 months, I would have a brand new batch of students. So my classes got so full where I had to do it. I had to do at other days, so it'd be either Monday or Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday. I never did class on Friday, Saturday, just initially. So then both my classes were full. So now I was making like 40 grand. I was making like 40 grand um, per session. So $20,000 a month. All right, cool. Then I said, you know what? Yeah, I need a bigger space. So I got a bigger space, which is this spot that you're seeing right here. This spot right here. This is actually my very first class in a brand new space. And From once I increased once I moved to a different spot, number of students, then I started making $100,000 every month because now I had classes Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Saturdays is 1 day a week, 8 hours a day. I was on my feet teaching, dog. I was not bullshit. I was gonna get this one. So I was making $100,000, $100,000 a month, blah blah. Right. So that's my story, right? Some of the students have wondered how I got started in the business or whatnot. Even some people were wondering whether I was a scam, whether I was lying. I'm like, I would not, couldn't possibly be a scam. You guys can see it. It's right here. Just so you guys can see.
Don't do that shit in here.
This is me teaching. This is me talking to
Some of you
students.
have kids.
See them moving.
Some of you
You
have
can
kids.
see their
Who has kids?
ball headed ass. You see them raising their hands.
Some of you have loved ones.
Y'all can see the
Don't
students.
you,
right?
Mr.
Y'all see
Mr.
it.
Root?
All right. So it is what it is, right? So why I share this story with you guys? I share this story with you for one simple thing. I have faith in myself and confidence enough to know that, you know what, I can do it. If I can do it, you guys can do it. I'm not even asking you guys to teach the class. Now, I took it above and beyond. You guys, I'm not telling you guys to do that. I'm just telling you guys, hey, just go get a six-figure job, right? So my message to you to cap this thing off is simple, right? The same way I taught, the same way I learned this stuff is the same way I'm going to teach you guys. I'm not going to teach you guys anything different. There's some more technologies that have since transpired since then, and I'm going to teach you guys that as well. But the point I'm trying to make is, I went from making $17 an hour to $100,000 a year. Sorry, $17 an hour to $104,000 a year to $100,000 a month. That's how quickly this thing happened. And this whole thing was within 2 years. The jobs I had was just to give me more experience. But the foundation of all that was me taking the extra step, taking that leap of faith to jump, right? To jump. Right? It is what it is. So hopefully that my little soliloquy, my little story inspires some of you guys. I'm telling you. There is no investment like investing in yourself. None whatsoever. There's no investment like investing in yourself. At some point, you gotta grab your nuts and you gotta invest in yourself. And what made it solid for me was because I saw other people making six figures and they weren't any smarter than me. Matter of fact, I was like, hold up, you get a job? Shit, no. Well, I definitely know I'm gonna get a job real fast, right? And it happened. I got a job in 24 hours because I wasn't bullshit. I got a job in 24 hours. Like I put my resume out there on Wednesday, on Thursday, I got a job that fast. No one in history has got a job that fast. I gotta admit it. I gotta admit that maybe it was just somebody watching me see all the work that I had put in. Maybe somebody was watching, right? I'm not asking you guys to do all that, to be a teacher and so on and so forth. But if you want to do that, that's fine. You can. That option is there. But first thing first, you gotta get the basic skills. You gotta know what you, because guys, you stand in front of these motherfuckers and you don't know how to solve a problem. Shit. Hey, I want my money back. They're not bullshit because they'll be able to tell real fast whether or not you know your stuff. Because you got to think about it, right? I'm teaching by myself, and everybody has different problems on their computer, and you got to be able to fix that. It ain't trying to get nothing. So it's like, bruh, you either know it or you don't, right? So my exposure when I was helping the professor initially, my exposure to all the different problems is what made me be able to teach it. You feel me, right? That's what made me be able to teach it, right? So if I can go from $17 an hour to $100,000 a month within this time span of what, 2 years? There is no reason why you should be able to go from whatever you're making right now to making 80, 90, 120, 150 per year. There's no reason why. Absolutely no reason why. All right, guys. So some of you guys asked these questions, and hopefully I inspired you guys a little bit. And remember, If you want to talk about it, we have a calendar that you can click on. But if not, you want to sign up for the course, the same way that I did, same way, go ahead and click the link in the description. At some point, you gotta get up the nuts and you just gotta jump for it and you gotta do it. Small price to pay for, believe me, big money to come, right? And that's just one job, right? If you have multiple jobs now, you're making $200,000-$300,000 a year. But it is what it is. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, guys, and give me your comments and let me know what you think. So talk to you guys soon. Peace.